everyone, I am making a very simple card today. My basic white layer I am cutting down to measure 5 1/4 by 4. And I'm pulling in one of my all-time favorite stamp sets, which is the Gorgeously Made. And I have some Azure Afternoon ink and I have some Starry Sky ink. So I'm going to start by using my blending brush. I've already been making some cards. So that one's got the Starry Sky on it. That one has the blue. So I'm just taking my blending brush, going off on my scrap paper first so I don't have a great big blob when I apply it to my paper. I'm just lightly going around. Whoops, that's okay. I'm not going to worry about that. And now I'm going to do the same thing with my Starry Sky. I'm going to put a little bit more blue on there as well. I got that blob of ink because I didn't go off on my scrap paper first, and that is okay. Now I'm bringing in a clear block, and I'm going to take my Azure Afternoon and just tap it on my block. You can use a re-inker for this next step, an ink refill, but my cat is currently sleeping on the storage that I have with my re-inkers. His basket's on top of that shelf, so I am improvising. And you can see I just squeezed some water from my water painter. I got quite a bit of it on my block, but that's all right. And I'm just picking it up and I'm just going to splatter it on. I'm going to turn my paper around and continue splattering. Pretty good. It's hard to stop when you start doing this because it's really fun. Okay. So I'm just going to clean that off. And I'm going to bring in my heat tool to dry that. Time for some stamping. So the first thing I'm going to stamp is this long image right here. And I'm going to use Starry Sky for that. And I'm going to make this a portrait card. So I'm just going to stamp right down along the bottom. And I'm also going to stamp just a little bit right there. Now I'm bringing in the type image, and I'm going to stamp that twice in the center. And I'm going to overlap it a little bit because I'm going to put something in the center of that. And of course it's crooked as I do. Anyways, it's fine. Now I'm bringing in my solid leaf image. I'm also going to stamp that with my Starry Sky. I'm just going to stamp it off on the side, just like so. Now I'm pulling in Irresistible Blooms. This is one of my favorite stamp sets this year from the online exclusives. And I'm going to stamp Thank You across the top. And try to get it straight. Here we go. Now I'm taking the smaller flower and I'm going to stamp that on a piece of scrap basic white. I'm going to stamp it with the Starry Sky. I'm going to bring in my Azure Afternoon. The first thing I'm going to do is pick some up. And I'm just picking it up with the blender pen. And I'm just going to pull that color in. And this will pick up some of that Starry Sky that's on the outline of the stamp. And pull that in at the same time. So I'm just using 2 colors on this card. I'm going back in with some of that Azure Afternoon and just adding some darker color. Now I'm going to Starry Sky. I'm dabbing it off on my scrap paper so it's not too dark, and pull that in. So now that I have that image done, I'm actually going to stamp again on top of that using my First Mark ink pad. And I'm not too concerned if it doesn't line up exactly. And I'm going to emboss that with silver. Bringing in my die cutting machine. I'm going to cut that out with the coordinating die. Now I'm bringing in some Starry Sky cardstock, and I am scoring this at 5.5, and I'm turning it around, and I'm going to cut it at 4 1/4, so that I will have 2 card bases. One I can save for the next card, and then I've got one for this card that measures 11 by 4 1/4. And before I put that on, I am going to stamp some of the splatters that are in this set and emboss those in silver as well. Okay, I'm going to adhere this to my card base. Whoops, don't want to have it upside down. Then I have a piece of white for the inside. And I'm going to pop the flower up with some dimensionals. Now I'm bringing in the dies that coordinate with this stamp set, and I am going to die cut using the leaf die. Now for that I am using vellum, so I am just going to fold it in half. I want 2 of these, so I am just going to cut it like so. I want to pop this one up, so I'm going to take a tiny mini dimensional and then just put that underneath my flower. Oops. Let's do that again. There we go. This one's a little longer than what I need, so I'm just cutting that bit off and adding my dimensional. And then to finish this card, I'm going to take a large pearl and put it right in the center of this flower. And then some tiny pearls, just randomly. I love how that turned out. It was so fun to make and just play, not knowing how this was going to turn out, and I just love all the different elements on it. I hope this card gave you some fun inspiration and ideas to use with your stamping products. I am now going to take the same design and use it for a Christmas card, and I will speed that process up. For the embellishments on this card, I'm still using the sparkling snowflakes, but I've realized that the dies from the Chic dies fit with these stamps. So that is pretty awesome. So I'm going to stamp and die cut some of these snowflakes. Thanks so much for watching, friends. I hope you enjoyed my stamping on the fly video where I just kind of just winged it, as I love to do when I'm stamping. And I hope you got some fun ideas with the techniques and products that I used today. I love the color scheme using the blue and the purple and the water splatter. Lots of fun elements going on with these cards. Hopefully you can take some of the ideas that I've used today on some of your cards and crafting projects, or feel free to case the cards as I've made them. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Thanks, friends. I appreciate you. Take care and happy stamping.